Hi, it's a pleasure to be with you tonight. My name is Hillary Monson, as previously mentioned, and this is Bailey Goldthorpe. We're both with the Levitt Center, which is a non-partisan entity at SUU, and it is focused at having political engagement. So with that, I will say the agenda. So we are going to have the candidates introduce themselves. First will be the mayoral candidates, and then the city council, and it's going to be in reverse alphabetical order, just so you guys all know it's different, it's reversed from last night. We are also going to, once everyone has finished introducing themselves, we will then have a question and answer portion where we have a list of questions that we will just have them and we'll time them. And then once that's done at 8:30, we will have a mix and mingle where you guys can individually go to each of the tables and ask them specific questions that you have until 9, and then we will clean up. So with that, we will start and have Worth Grimshaw introduce himself.
My name is Worth Grimshaw, and I'm running for the office of the mayor. And
my name is Steve Clark, and I'm running for office of mayor. But I've got a little longer introduction than that. Was that what we were supposed to do, Tim? Or just our names?
Do your whole, you have 3 minutes. You have 3 minutes. So if you want to...
that's all right.
Do you want that?
No, go ahead. They'll find out before the day's over what I'm after.
My name is Steve Clark. I'm running for mayor. I've lived here in Enoch for, well, probably longer than some of you are old. For 38 years, and we've enjoyed our association here with our neighbors and with the citizens. In that length of time, I've had many opportunities to serve in Enoch. I've served on the planning commission, and after that, I was elected to the Enoch City Council, and served there for 1 term, and had the opportunity to work in many departments. And I worked with the water and the sewer and the parks, and that gave me a lot of experience. I also had a chance to learn how the city operates, how the city manager works, how the city council works, how the recorder works, how our treasurer works, how the whole system works. So with that kind of experience, I figured I'm qualified to serve as mayor. Also, I am nervous. I got one thing to say that probably none of the other candidates can say. Last night I had somebody stick their tongue out at me. Of course, it was my wife trying to get me to smile. She says I have a real problem not smiling. Okay, I neglected some things last night, and I wanted to not neglect them tonight. I wanted to say that I support our police department. I think they've done a great job. I don't think that they can do it for any less cost. I like having the peaceful feeling of knowing that when emergencies come that they can respond quickly. I also support our staff and workers. I think they are professionals. Many of them are certified so that they can run our water systems and sewer systems, and of course most of the workers are licensed to drive heavy equipment and our garbage trucks and things, and they trade off, so they're professionals. I was waiting for the red flag, so thank you very much, and I look forward to serving as your mayor.
My name is Jeffrey Chestnut. I am also running for the mayor. A little bit about myself. I'm a local attorney. I'm an SUU alumni. I was fortunate enough to be able to actually come and get a job and stay in Southern Utah as well. That's not something that too many alumni get to say. My wife and I have been in Enoch a little more than 5 years. I am just older than how long Steve has lived here, so closing in on 40 real quick. My wife and I have identical twin boys and a little girl, and we live in Enoch because we want that opportunity that we received as kids growing up. My wife's from a very small community. Enoch's a booming metropolis compared to where she's from. But we want that feeling for our kids. And I think that those are things that we all want for our kids. A safe neighborhood, good neighbors, clean streets, all of the things that come along with that stuff that we all, not all of us remember it, because we weren't alive then, but we want to remember that type of nostalgic feeling. I want that for my children. That they can proudly say that they grew up in Enoch, that they are able to enjoy all of those benefits. I think that those are things that we can do together. My profession is I'm an attorney. I deal with conflict every day. And my job is to resolve conflict. The way I approach everything is I am always collaborative and I seek to find a resolution. You want to become a jerk, I will take it back to you. But then as soon as you say no, then let's get back to the table and work it out. Let's work it out. It's just better that way, right? But that's the way I approach every litigation. That's the way I approach it for all my clients, because it's efficiency. It's saving costs. It's the things that are keeping dollars in your pocket. So let's collaborate. Let's work together. Let's find resolutions. And if somebody wants to mess with Enoch, then we take care of those people, right? And so until they come around and they say, well, never mind, I'm not going to do that anymore. And we work together. The unification of Enoch, I think, is something that is really important right now. And that this election cycle is one that's really going to be an opportunity for us to come together. There's some people that think that maybe we shouldn't, and it's every man for himself. And hey, if your neighbor is on his own and wants to say whatever he wants to you, then so be it. Your neighbor also chose to live in a community. And we've all got that community. So it's the balance, right? The individual liberties versus the community. And where's the balance? Where's the line? I don't think you're going to hear anybody up here say individual liberties are terrible. No one's going to say that. But what we should be saying is, how do we balance yours and mine and everyone's individual liberties against the fact that we live next door to people that also have individual liberties, and find a way that we can all collaborate together and move forward. I know I'm the candidate that can do that. That's what I do each and every day. There are people that disagree with that perspective, and I think that that's wrong. It's wrong, it's not long term.
My name's Brent Taylor. I live in Cottonwood Subdivision. It's on the west side of town. I sometimes feel like I live on the wrong side of the track, but there's some good people over there. And that's why I live in Enoch, is because of all the good people that live here. The beauty of the mountains and the community are another reason why I stay here. My wife's name is Tanya. I have 4 children, 10 grandchildren, and they're scattered from Lehigh to Las Vegas. So one reason that I've decided to run for city council is because I've served on the council once before, and like Steve, learned how the city operates, how things take place, how things get changed, how things become better. I love the staff. We've got one of the greatest staffs in the country, I believe. The police department does a great job, and I support 100%. And I've thought about that, and I've thought about some of the people that asked about having the county run our police department, and I keep thinking, you know, if we want to spend more money on police and have 2 police officers and take forever to get a policeman to your house when you have an emergency, I don't think we want that. But I do love this place, and that's why I'm running for city council. Thank you.
I'm Sean Storr. I live in Mr. Jones. The reason I'm running for city council, and I'm married, I have 5 children, we've been here for 5 years. I come from a small ranching community in southeast Idaho. That's a heritage I'm very proud of. I grew up with my father teaching me how to work and work hard and do a job to get it done right. Some of the things I'd like to do and see happen here in Enoch is probably similar to what most of you would like to see happen possibly, is maybe a fresh coat of paint, take care of some weeds, do some infrastructure that maybe needs to be done, whether that's curb gutter or sidewalk. I appreciate our city staff, our police department, like some have already mentioned. And, you know, one of the things that I think that maybe to get that job done, and this is just me thinking, I think we've got to work through it, but just an example, the insurance company that I have that covers my home and auto, they reward us for doing things that are right. If we don't have a claim, we get a check for that. If our kids get good grades in school, I get a check for that. Why can't we implement something like that within our community? If we want to see change, let's do it positively. There's a reward for maybe taking care of your property or mowing some weeds down or whatever that might be. But reward positive change, positive action. And, you know, those are some of the things that I'd like to see happen within the city government. And I've never run for political office before, so this is a new experience for me. But some of my life experience of working in sales, which is what I do right now, I think lend itself to working with people, dealt with some conflict resolution, and some of those type of things I think would work well within the city government. Thank you.
I'm not going to get up and get down, so I'll just raise a little bit higher. But my name is David Owens, and I'm a Enoch resident as well. I was born and raised in Canada and moved to the United States in the early 90s, at which time I finished school, joined the military, and then served honorably and stayed in the southern Utah area so I could go back to school and start some quality businesses that I have come and gone, but I still continue to own a small business here in Enoch. Some of the well, let me step back a little bit. I also, at this moment in time, I'm on the committee for the economic development and for this city. And through that job, I've seen a lot of concerns and a lot of positives and negatives that I can see that needs to be changed. And I can, as short as this is, I'll break them down into three aspects. One is communication. The communication is broken down in this city. We have a problem with residents being able to discuss their concerns with the city council. We have a city council that has concern or does not have the best ability to communicate their problems or their needs to the staff or the administration, and I think that needs to change. We need to be, as counselors and administrative staff and as residents, we all need to be able to feel that we're open to communication, that if we have a concern, that is heard. Second problem I think that we have is obviously fiscal responsibility. It's one thing to budget, it's another thing to manage your money. And we have a lot of needs in this city. We have drainage problems, we have broken down streets, and it just seems like we keep going in this circle and nothing is being done and nothing is being completed. And so we need to find resources and ways to better work on those problems. And one of those ways is through economic development. If we are able to, as residents, invest in our city and cherish our city, it is going to invite and be attractive to businesses. Businesses come in, and of course these are businesses that we decide come in, then that of course carries the tax burden to the businesses instead of back onto the residents themselves. And I think that through proper communication, fiscal responsibility, and through ultimate economic development, we can have a city that we cherish, that we love, and that we truly feel is our home. Because we do have issues with people that say that's not the proper role of government. The proper role of government is what the people want it to be. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm also David Harris, and I'm running for City Council, and I live in Enoch, and I'm proud of it. My wife and I moved here a little over 14 years ago with our family. We have 6 children, most of whom have only known Enoch as their hometown. And prior to that, I graduated with a Master of Business Administration degree in Arizona. And after that, my wife and I were looking for a place to raise our family, where we wanted to settle down. We're both originally from Idaho, and we wanted to raise our family in a place that was similar to the place that we grew up. And we chose Enoch. And it's been a great place to live, a great place to raise our kids. And I want to keep it that way. I want it to be a clean, safe, desirable community, family friendly, and I want my kids to want to stay here. And for that, my wife and I have always tried to work to make Enoch a better place. We volunteered many times. We both served on the planning commission. We've both been involved in the elementary schools and the parent organizations there. My wife was on the tree committee. I've been on the Enoch Recreation Association. We've been ready to volunteer in whatever capacity we've been needed to try to make Enoch a little better place, and it's been wonderful. And as I look forward, I want Enoch to be a well-managed city. I want us to be able to manage the infrastructure. I want to be able to keep from going into debt later on because we've planned properly for the future, and so I don't want to kick problems down the road for our children to have to take care of and to go into debt to fix because we didn't plan today. It's tempting to just want to budget and plan for our needs today, but if we neglect to think about the future, we push that burden upon our children. And so I'd like to lend my skills as a financial advisor, which is what I do for a living, to help Enoch make positive financial fiscal decisions. It's my job every day to help people make wise decisions about their future and to plan correctly and to use their money wisely. And I'd like to lend that expertise to the city of Enoch to make sure that they're doing the same thing so that 20, 30 years from now we can be proud to say that we're from Enoch and proud to say that it's been a well-managed community. And thank you very much.
My name is Wayne Grimshaw, and other than Worth, I've been here longer than anybody. I was born here, and I want to tell you that I wouldn't trade my youth and the experiences that I had growing up here with anybody. We really enjoyed growing up in Enoch, and I understand the philosophy and other things that have made Enoch the place that all these people want to live, and I'd like to see that continue. I'm not a big speaker, but I want you to know that I believe that a city has basically 3 things to do. They need to provide safety, they need to provide security, and take care of the day-to-day sewer and water and all that kind of stuff. And we need to do it as economically and as possible. My wife and I live down Mid Valley Road, Garth Road, and we have 5 children, 1 girl and 4 boys, and a slew of grandkids and a couple of great-grandkids. I just want you to know that I know how to listen, and I will pledge to represent and work for Enoch citizens. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Michael Gordon, and I'm a supporter of Deborah Lane, who's seeking a seat on the Enoch City Council. But unfortunately, Deborah can't be here tonight, but she's asked me to speak on her behalf and deliver the following prepared statement. I'm sorry I have to read it, that they're Deborah's words and not my own. And I quote, "As a resident of Enoch City for better than 13 years, I've been involved in many city activities. Serving the Tree Committee chair for 2 terms is one of my highlights. I'm honored to have been one of the original 5 citizens who sponsored the referendum against higher taxes. I've canvassed the community, rallying support and explaining my position on wasteful spending, unspecified tax increase, and lack of vision for the city's future. I will work to establish a more efficient city government and be responsive to the residents' ideas and concerns. My goals are audit all municipal departments and look for waste or excessive spending. 2, ensure proper contract bidding and the thorough vetting of contractors. 3, revisit the storm drain project and resolve the remaining roadway issues. 4, be open and transparent with the citizens of Enoch in determining infrastructure needs. As a retired educator, I've learned to listen and interact effectively with people. I've always strived to teach honesty, fairness, and responsibility. As a candidate for the seat on the Enoch City Council, I'm practicing what I preach. I pledge to say what I mean what I say, and not be mean when I say it. We have some tax and spend folks here in Enoch, along with some vote and change people. However, most are conservative-minded residents who just want to be left alone. The facts are, we have participants from all segments of the political spectrum here. Having said that, the thought occurred to me that those who say they want to bring everybody together and live happily ever after have a real challenge in front of them. The proper role of any elected person should be to serve the will of the people. That term is used almost as slang. There is no need to bring everybody together. Each person is entitled to their own opinions and beliefs. And a public servant should not embark on a road to please all who cross their path, but to make the needed decisions in the best interest of every resident they serve, rather than just those coming knock on the office door. I apologize for not being able to attend this Meet the Candidate night, and I do thank each and every one of you who left your homes and family to hear our respective messages. I hope all of you will come out and cast your votes on Election Day. Thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. I know that you had to take time out of your busy schedules to be here to hear what we had to say. My name is Cassie Weasley. I've lived in Enoch for almost 2 years. Prior to that, I lived in Parowan for 10 years. So I've been in Iron County for a total of 12. What brought me to Enoch is when I got married 2 years ago, my husband lived in Enoch, so we decided I should live here. So I came down to Enoch, and that was around the time that the huge tax thing was going on. And I was like, wow, what's going on here in Enoch? So I started going to the city council meetings and finding out what was going on with our city government and why things were going on. It ended up having the referendum voted down, which the people decided what we wanted, and that's the way it should be. So at that point in time, I decided that I was going to fill a niche that was left vacant because the city is not supposed to entertain us. So I decided that if we wanted to have things here in Enoch, I created an association that we could actually get together for those who wanted to do things, and we could do things together in Enoch. And it's going pretty well, and I like the fact that people in Enoch are willing to volunteer and do stuff so that we can make this a better community by working together to do that. One of Enoch's biggest problems that I see are some of its ordinances. Some of them are very obscure. They're just, I don't think that they were written for the people of Enoch. I think that they were just adopted in from somewhere else, and now that Enoch is really starting to have people here, we need to go through them and make them what we need them to be for our community. I think that as a woman trying to get into the city council, that I can bring a new perspective that women don't have. Thank you, and we'll be answering more questions later.
Okay, thank you everyone. We're going to start with a question for the mayoral candidates. We'll start with Mr. Chestnut, and then Mr. Grimshaw, and then Mr. Clark. And you will have 1 minute to answer this question. In your opinion, what are 2 leadership traits that are absolutely necessary for a mayor to be successful?
2 leadership traits, I think, are the ability, one, to advocate, since we have a weak mayor system and the mayor doesn't have a vote in the discussion unless there's a tie, the idea being then to listen to the needs of the citizens, talk with the professionals that run our city, and then be that advocate voice right there present, not just rely on whatever you guys are able to get at the end in city council public forum when everyone has turned their brains off and is ready to go home. The second thing is the ability to resolve conflict. We have divisive issues. We have a broad spectrum of political thought and ideas. To be able to bring those ideas together and have everyone feel that they are genuinely listened to, I think is a very important thing. I think that to trivialize that trivializes everybody that just doesn't agree with you. And that's your neighbors and your families and friends. And I think that those people are important to you, and those voices should be important as well.
Two traits that I think a leader should have are, number one, to be able to analyze the situation that is involved at hand, to be able to come up with a reasonable reason for a position on it, and the ability to try to see as many different views as possible, to be able to be honest, to respect those who disagree with you, and at the same time not to be overpowered by someone just because they are passionate or because they are driven by some personal need. And I think those are things a leader should have.
I think one thing a mayor needs to have is probably a sense of humor with all the business he has to deal with, and with the many different opinions that you deal with. I agree with the other two that listening is really important, and then trying to resolve the person's unhappiness, I guess would be one way to put it. We all always don't agree, but we can work out an amicable decision. I think that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now have a question for the City Council, starting with Cassie and moving forward this way. You have 1 minute to respond. In your opinion, describe the single greatest responsibility of a City Councilman.
I think the greatest responsibility of the city councilman is that we make our decisions based on sound principles, that we don't decide something on an emotional basis or because a group of people want it, even though it would step on the rights of the individuals, and that we should be able to listen and be able to determine what is the proper action to take for whatever the problem is.
I think something that's most paramount is owning our ideas. We have a lot of times where even if we do our due diligence and we look at both sides of the story, it is up to the councilors to own that idea, understand both sides, formulate their conclusion and stick with it, and then pursue a cause of action. not sweeping it under the rug, not pushing it off to the next council or to the next meeting, but make an honest decision and follow through with that as quickly as possible.
I think we need to listen to what the problem is, make sure we understand it, and then do some studying, get all the facts that we can get, and then try and make the right decision. After we make that decision, we need to stick with it and follow through with it.
I think maybe one of the biggest things is to realize that it's not just about the square that I live on or just about the square that you live on, but we're a community, right? And so as a community, sometimes there's some give and take, and respect that. And then also as a council member to learn your responsibilities. Since I've taken this position, I've spent some time in the city office to learn about our budget and to learn about city government. And I've done some research online and read the council notes and different things like that. But integrity plays into that character. We need to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And that's the bottom line. We know what we're doing here. And if we can't do that, we shouldn't do it at all. Thank you.
Some of the people in the back, we can't see who's talking. When you guys talk, can you just say your name first, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
David Harris. Now Sean Storr, right before me.
Thank you.
I think one of the most important thing of, I suppose, responsibility for city council members who represent the citizens of Enoch, all of them. And that means to listen and to understand the concerns of the residents of the city. And that's more than, and sometimes it goes beyond just listening. We listen, and then we have to, a lot of times, research out a problem and research out solutions and answers. It takes a lot of extra time. That happens outside of meetings. That happens on our own time. And it takes some effort. And I think that it takes someone willing to go the extra mile, spend some time to discover what solutions are and solutions mean, and what they mean now, what they mean for the future, and what they mean for all of the citizens of Enoch. Thank you.
Wayne Grimshaw, I'm tall enough to see. Something I'm surprised they haven't mentioned, because it was mentioned last night, but the Constitution of the United States differs with all other government in the fact that it makes you, the citizen, empowers you. The city has no power that you don't have. In fact, you've hired those people to do something that you don't have time to do for yourself. They work for you. The most important thing, I think, is basically to listen to you and decide what you want to do as a community, and then follow through with honesty and integrity. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is going to be for everyone, and we're going to start with David Owens in the middle, and then go to Cassie, and then circle back around. And you'll have 30 seconds to answer this question. Please describe one core principle or value from which you will never deviate.
I think it comes down to integrity. Having a personal agenda moving into city office is not only unethical, but it is dishonest and it is wrong. We need to be open-minded and look at the city, look into the city as a whole, and not just try to push our personal agendas. Thank you.
Cassie Easley. I would say that the principle that I stand on the most is a constitutional government of the people. And because I believe so strongly in the Constitution, I would look there first for any decisions I was making about anything in government, that it would be what the people wanted. and not necessarily what my individual ideals were first.
My name is Brother Grimshaw, and I could say the same things that they have said, but the thing that I do not deviate from and have not deviated from in 7 years that I served on the city council, and 3 different times I've been the mayor of this town, is I have worked to help the city, never to improve myself. And I can back that up.
Well, there's a few things that question's a little unusual. I don't deviate from my religious beliefs. They parallel a lot our Constitution of the United States. Thank you.
Honesty is the thing I don't vary from. I'm the kid that was 19, going on an LDS mission, standing in the Maverick with a $20 bill and an apology note from the 10-year-old kid who stole a pack of batteries. Honesty is, I'm hyper vigilant about my honesty, and I find that it helps me in every aspect of my life, because you will know what I mean is honestly what I believe because I say it.
Well, I have agree with integrity. I firmly believe that what you are on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and the rest of the week is the same as what you are on Sunday. And in this case, it's the same thing as you would be as a city councilor. Thank you.
Well, I don't, this is Dave Harris. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but honesty and integrity is really what it's about. And I find that if I'm straightforward, honest, if I say it like it is, tell people what I will do and follow through with it, then I can look them in the eye years down the road and know that I did everything I could and I lived up to my word. And that is the most important thing to me. Even if I'm wrong, if I am honest and forthright in what I do, then I look people in the eye about it. Thanks.
I believe them. I think they all said what I would say too. Never is a long time, by the way, and we can say that we would never do something. I'm not going to say that I would never not be dishonest or have integrity at some point, but strive for that. I think we all need to strive for, especially when we're serving citizens of this community, that character and integrity, you can't live without that. If you don't have that, as I mentioned earlier, you shouldn't be running. And as Steve said too, my religious beliefs are near and dear to me, and that's what governs my life every day. Thank you.
I just need to say amen to what's been said. Integrity, honesty, those are the things that count the most. And if you've got those, nobody can take it away from you. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now have a question for all the candidates. This will be a 1.5 minute long question, and we'll start with Taylor Brent. Give a specific example from your past where you have generated revenue for an organization and or cut expenditures.
It's kind of a hard one. I think probably helping the scouts, SME. I'd go out and do what I could to collect money from my neighbors. Wasn't really the easiest thing for me to do, but we got it done. And after doing that, I enjoyed visiting with my neighbors, getting to know them a little better, and have fun doing it too. Thank you.
Today, I did that today. I'm in sales, and when you're in sales, every day is about making revenue for the company, and every day is about watching your expenditures. And we have line items on every single thing that we do in sales, and we're rated on that. So every day is made up of me generating revenue for my company and also watching expenditures. So I'm very familiar with how to do that.
David Harris, and ditto. I do it every day. As a partner in my company, it is my responsibility to go out and generate revenue every day and keep very conscious of all of the expenses and all the expenditures we have. I have to generate that revenue so I can pay my employees, so I can pay my bills, and very last of all, I get to pay myself, and I come last. But I go to work every day and work hard to do that. And aside from that, I've been at several organizations, nonprofit organizations, in which we have done fundraisers. We've gotten grants and done various things in order to raise money to support these organizations and do the good work that is the goal of the organization. And in doing so, we have always striven to have zero expenditures. We don't pay ourselves, and we try to have zero overhead, so all of the expenditures that we raise in these charitable organizations go to the charity. So I've had, I feel like I've had a lot of experience raising revenue and watching expenses in everything that I do. Thanks.
Well, I'm a civil servant retiree from the Air Force, and for 33 years I've been writing specifications for the contractors that work for me and for the programs that I want to push for the Air Force, exactly, and amounted to millions of dollars over the years. So I know how to write a proposal, I know how to spend money, and I know the worth of money and the worth of people that money pays for. Thank you.
That's part of what I do every day as an attorney. One of the things I do as the type of work I do is help restructure corporations. I go in and I have to look at balance sheets and profit and loss, and I have to sit down and have a hard talk with executives and CEOs and find out why they're paying themselves so much money when there's no money to be paid. On top of that, I operate a law firm, and I am mindful of expenditures and expenses and costs and revenues. And on top of that, I have to do that by billing clients, so I'm mindful. I'm mindful of my clients' costs and expenditures. As far as raising money, I'm the Cub Master. We do a fundraiser every year, a cake auction. One night for this last year, $1,500 in one night for Cub Scouts. I'm proud of that because that pays for Cub Scouts, that pays for day camp, that pays for lots of things. And I organize and marshal volunteers to have that happen. We didn't do it 1 year before, and there was a hue and cry throughout the ward. Why didn't we have another fundraiser with great cakes? So I know how to do that, and I can do that as the mayor.
Well, when you've been a blue-collar worker and worked for wages, sometimes you aren't generating a lot of funds. But I was thinking that we made special efforts in the tree committee to get grants from the Arbor Day Foundation, and we used those grants to benefit the people here in Enoch. They were a small amount for organization, small amounts of money, but we also used that money for purchasing of the gifts, the awards and things that we gave away on our Arbor Days. And so that didn't come out of city budgets, it came out of grants and work of the people on the committee. And I've also done as other candidates worked with the scouting to generate funds to keep Boy Scouts of America solvent. And I got to balance a budget at home. So, thank you.
When I was an accountant, I operate my own business also, and that's what we all do to take care of ourselves in our own way. What I have done, I'm not a fundraiser. However, I have been an active participant, and I have done some things for the city. For example, we're sitting in a building right here, which the development company I was working with and as a part owner donated this property to the school district at no cost. The cemetery that Enoch City has that is developed, they have because of me. I'm the one who saw to it that they got it, again at no cost. The Homestead well, which I believe is still the best well in Enoch City, was donated also by the development company that donated the land for this building. We also donated other things. I could give you a long list of things, but those are things that I've been involved in and done during my period of time. I'm not a great fundraiser and asking you to pay for things.
As far as the time when I specifically generated revenue would be when I was working in restaurant management. We would have contests and I would motivate my employees to upsell so that we could have extra sales, and then I would reward them for that, or that sort of thing. I currently haven't worked for the last 5 years, so it hasn't been a lot of current things to generate revenue. I am very frugal at home. I stay within our budget, and I always shop sales, I use coupons, I try to find ways to cut expenses at home so that we do have extra money to do other things that we want to do. And if something comes up and we need to, I cut in other areas that aren't nearly as important. So that's pretty much my experience with raising funds and expenditures.
David Owens. As a business owner myself, it is our goal to generate revenue, and working with city organizations and property management firms, I've had to make tough decisions because, as we all know, sometimes that money is flowing in and it's great, and then there's other times when you think being an entrepreneur is nothing more than a Latin word of unemployment. And so we have to make these tough decisions and balance checks and balances at all time. And on a personal level, me and myself and my lovely wife, we need to keep our house in order. And sometimes that means that we have to save and we have to make sacrifices in order to make the future more bright and vital. Thank you.
Thank you. This question is for all candidates, and we'll start with Worth Grimshaw and then move over to Stephen Clark and follow and wrap around. You have 1 minute to respond. In your opinion, what is the top role of city government?
The top role of city government, in my opinion, is to provide for the needs of the citizens who live here to the best of their ability and to the best of their ability to pay for it. It is not to provide for the wants of the city council or of the people. It's to take care of the things that they need to have. And then if we have extra money, then we can decide whether to give it back to the people, which is my preference, or whether to spend it on things that somebody wants. And that's my belief.
Well, I believe that the main role of our local government is to help keep our lives organized. I don't know if you understand what I mean, but We all need water, we all need sewer, we all need our garbage picked up and things like that. And that's all handled through our local government. And these are all things that we absolutely need. When we were on the septic tanks, the worst thing was having to deal with backed up septic tanks. So I love Enoch and I love our sewer system. Thank you.
I think that that it's the service that serve the community. The city government exists because of your will to have it exist, and it is a creature that is supposed to serve you. When we do that, Benjamin Franklin said that elected officials or elected positions should not be positions of power or profit. Basically saying as soon as you allow somebody to have advantage because of the position they're in, you're going to get the worst people in there. The people that are in there should be doing it because they want to serve. And that is the fundamental function. Whatever you need as a community, the city government serves to provide that. Balancing all of those various interests, right? It's one of those things where a small group can't come in and just say, serve me. It has to be one of those things where we serve the community, whereas it's a creature of the community that it serves, and it serves at that will. And without that in mind, you're just way off base. And it can't function properly and do that service it needs to do.
Well, I said before and I'll say it again, basically the city can't do anything that you personally couldn't do. The only reason we hire them to do it is because as a group, they can provide it supposedly at a much more efficient rate than we can do it for ourselves. That includes water and sewer and garbage and other things that we as people decide are important to us. Thank you.
Dave Harris again. And yes, I think that the role of the city is to do what the citizens hire it to do. And the things that I think are most important are related to infrastructure, as has been mentioned, water, sewer, roads, and things. Those things can't effectively be managed and maintained by individuals working independently. There are things called economies of scale and things that require equipment and expertise, and it's more effectively handled by the city, more efficiently handled by the city if things are managed correctly. And so I believe that the proper role of the city government is to do what the citizens hire it to do, and to do it effectively, and to do it efficiently, and to the best of their ability. Thanks.
Dave was looking at my notes. He said it exactly the way I would say it too. That's what the role of city government is to govern. And to do those things that we as citizens don't want to do ourselves, and we're willing to hire somebody else to do that. Take out our trash, plow the roads in the wintertime, fix our streets, make it a beautiful place to live, mow the grass, all those kind of things we enjoy as citizens. And ultimately, we have a choice. If there's other things that we'd like to have as citizens, we can say that we would like our city to take care of this for us. And we have a say-so in that. And that's the beauty of government. And those are some of the things that I think is a proper role of city government. Thank you.
I just need to say amen to what's been said. I think the city takes care of our water, sewer, our policing, make sure we're all safe in our communities and in our homes, and provide the things that has been said that we want the city to do, and anything else that the citizens of this community want us to do. Thank you.
It sounds like it's been pretty unanimous. The role of government is whatever the residents want us to do. And with that, we certainly have to look at the picture as a whole. Sometimes look outside of the box and see what our needs are. And when we have a concern, whether it be drainage or whether it be a police department or a public park, We have to work together. And a part of the role of the city government is to make those hard choices. We're not going to be, the city government can't please everyone, but they certainly can look out for the interests of the city and make those choices that will benefit the city as a whole. Thank you.
I think the top role of city government is our accountability to the citizens of Enoch for how we're managing your tax dollars. I think that is the number one thing, is our accountability.
Thank you. This question is for all of the candidates and is 1.5 minutes, and we'll start with Sean Storr. From your perspective, what are the two biggest challenges facing Enoch City over the next 5 years? And what specific plans will you implement to turn these challenges into opportunities for our community?
I think one of the biggest challenges that we're faced with today is maybe some division about where we're going. And as I've listened to different people's viewpoints, I think we really all want basically the same thing. We want a safe place to live, where we can raise our families and enjoy this community. You know, some of the opportunities that I think lie down the road from us is, in the ability to get there, is not doing anything. I think sometimes we feel like we're strapped by whatever it might be, differences of opinion maybe, and it leads to non-action. And that frustrates me more than anything else, is to do nothing. If we're going to make our city a better place to live, let's figure out what it is that we want to do. Maybe hone in on one thing, and let's do it. Let's cut through the bureaucracy and try to come together and figure out what it is we want as a whole. As it's been mentioned, we're not going to solve everybody's problems, but let's figure out something that we can do and just get it done and cut through it. That's my opinion. Thanks.
I think Enoch has a few challenges. This is Dave Harris again, by the way. I would like to see Enoch become more competitive in inviting commercial business to come and choose to have Enoch City as a place to set up and serve the citizens and provide a tax base for us. We are, like it or not, competing with surrounding communities, Cedar City, Iron County, for these businesses that want to establish themselves. And I think we can do more to make Enoch a more attractive place for them to come and want to establish themselves. And should we do that, if we can accomplish that, then I think that it serves our citizens both with again, the tax base, and it makes, and from convenience. It makes, we have businesses here to serve our citizens. And again, I think that fiscally, the management of Enoch City, we need to pay close attention to make sure that we allocate our resources in a way that not just take care of issues now, but we're planning properly for the future. Because I would hate to see my kids have to bond and go into debt in the future to just maintain our infrastructure the way it is now. I would like to see better fiscal management and with an eye on the future to make sure that we are an attractive place for citizens and for business now and in the future. Thanks.
The 5-year plan sounds like a communist idea. They've been using it forever. The problem with looking ahead is that you can make all the prognostications you want, but things come and happen. Like, for example, the flooding in the half-mile road. As a city, we need to economize enough and put our money in a place where it will be there when we need it to fix that half-mile road, which there isn't money to do now. We need to be saving money. Not spending everything that we have, and we need to look, if we have some extra money, we need to do it for projects that are right now, and not projects that are going to take money forever afterward, and commit ourselves to something that we don't have. Thank you.
You know, I think of I try and explain things to people in my job through analogy. I think of a 5-year plan or any projection into the future this way. If you don't know where you're going, you're in a car headed down the freeway, you then go like this. And there's a median. And that's, I think, where we're at. We've had our eyes, we've had people in leadership at this point who aren't leading, and they've got their hands over their eyes, and the car's flying down the freeway at 100 miles an hour. And there's a huge median coming. And you know what? That right now, leadership is saying, we might hit it. Those are the brakes. And I think that's wrong. And I think what we need to do is, for 5 years, what we need to do, in 5 years, what I envision, the communication between you and as the citizens and the city government is so fluid that you have opportunities to vent, to discuss things, to be angry, and not have it be at the end of the meeting when everybody wants to go home. And I think that as you are heard, that we will be able to bring together those businesses, we'll be able to bring those in, we'll be able to fix the problems in the roads, we'll be able to take care of those things. I sat last night till 10:30 out in the parking lot talking to someone I'm pretty certain will not vote for me. And that's okay. That's why I want to be your mayor.
My mind just went blank. Maybe that comes with my age. But I was sitting here thinking that it sounds like some of us feel like the Enoch we love is dying. Well, I don't actually feel that way. I feel really good about Enoch. Glad to live here. I think it's a great place. We need to maybe regroup a little bit, reorganize a little bit, and I'm not disparaging at all. I'm happy to be here, happy to try to serve as your mayor. Thank you.
As has been stated, I've probably lived here about as long as anybody. I actually know 1 or 2 people that have lived here longer than I have. But I've always been proud to be from Enoch. I don't think it needs to change and become a big city in order to make me happy. I like it rural. I like it calm, quiet, peaceful, where people can love each other. They may have differences, but they can get along. I hear a lot of talk about we need to lure businesses in. How much money will those businesses bring to Enoch actually? Has anybody stopped to see? We say we'll broaden the tax base. What does that really mean? Does a business pay more taxes than a house does for this town? What taxes do we get from a business? There are not all the taxes that a business pays going to the town. A very small percentage actually goes to the town. Most of it, in property taxes, goes to the school district. Part of it goes to the county. A small percentage comes to the city. A business, for example, my business, is in Cedar. I would never move it to Enoch. I don't want it in Enoch. It would never bring any revenue to Enoch either, because the only revenue Cedar gets from it is the property tax they collect. They can't pay for the cost it would have to have my business on the property tax I pay to Cedar City. They make their money from the sales tax that the people who come to see me spend in places like Lynn's and other places.
The 2 biggest challenges I see for Enoch are the ordinances and economic development, because we do not have things that we can do here. We do have the hub, which I love being able to run down there and grab some milk or vegetables or everything down there. I get all my bread there only because they're amazing prices. But it's nice to be able to have things in town to be able to go and do. And we do need to develop economically, but I don't think we need to bring in big commercial businesses. I think we should use our base what we have as citizens and the people here, that they have dreams and ideas and want to have their own businesses, and they should be able to develop their ideas and have the people that live here be able to patronize our neighbors and have the community help them develop their business. So that would be my economic idea. On the ordinances, like I mentioned before, a lot of them, like right now the city's working on the nuisance ordinances. It's very obscure. We need clear, concise, good ordinances. Earlier this year, we changed the ordinances for firearms because they were totally against the Constitution, and I made sure that I brought that to the attention of the council members because it's something that's very important to everyone. And I just think that we need to look into the ordinances more and make them all clear and concise so that everybody can follow them and they can be enforced.
Great question. Where do we want to be in 5 years? Where do we want to be in 10 years? That's the question we as residents have to ask ourselves. And then we can find out what our challenges face. Do we want to move forward? Do we want to be able to have clean and safe streets with proper drainage? Have those quick little necessities that are close to us. So if our children are sick, we don't have to run all the way to Walmart at 3 o'clock in the morning to grab some medication to help them. Or do we want to step backwards, where we continue to put Band-Aid fixes on our streets, to have flooded basements, to put our vehicles in 4-wheel drive to go to the hub? These are issues that we have to decide, and we have to decide now. And the challenges are flow with those. Do we want to invest in our community? Do you want to have our children left with the same problems that we're here right now today complaining about? Or do we want to move forward and have an inviting and attractive city where we can all be happy? It's all about quality of life. And so we do need to look at our infrastructure. We do need to look at our lack of communication. And all of this put together is going to make our city great. Thank you.
I agree with what's been said. I think in 5 years, 10 years from now, we need to be fiscally strong. We need to have a safe community for our children, so they can go out and play, not worry about being kidnapped or hurt or anything like that. I think we need to have a good community, a feeling like we do now, a good rural atmosphere, if you would say, and that's it.
Thank you. Okay, we have 2 more questions for the candidates before we move into the closing statements. And this question will be specifically for the mayoral candidates, and you'll have 30 seconds to answer. And we'll start with Mr. Clark, and then Mr. Grimshaw, and then Mr. Chestnut. The question is, do you think Enid's economy needs to grow? If so, what would be your specific plan to increase the city's economy?
Well, I was thinking a little earlier about all the things the city has done, our city government has done for economic development. And then thinking with what Worth said, and you know, to entice businesses into Enoch, you have to promise them that you won't collect taxes from them. That's the enticement to come into Enoch, is to, thought we had how much? I am sorry.
I'm not sure that Enoch needs to grow its economy. It's all right with me if it does. I'm not opposed to it. I think every person in the United States should have the right to pursue anything they want to pursue, but they don't have the right to expect other people to subsidize them. And so, if anybody wants to bring a business to town, they're certainly welcome to. I would never stop them. But on the other hand, I would never promise them anything other than the opportunity. And that's what I believe they should have.
And we have a lot of little cottage businesses already that are in our community, right? And I think what we can do is we can work to encourage more of that. And those, as we encourage those community members to do things and to bring those things out of their little garages, then we're going to have those businesses they're going to want to set up across from the hub. And then at lunch they can have the great pizza. It's one of those things where it grows upon grows upon grows as we encourage, and we can do that through leadership that directs that.
Thank you. This question is for all of the candidates, and we'll start with David Harris and move to Wayne Grimshaw. It's 1 minute long. Of all the items listed in your platform, what is the single issue that you believe is the most important to this community?
David Harris again, and I think I mentioned good fiscal management, and I think that that is the most important thing. It's something that we've been debating now for several years, and it has a lot to do with our future. It is a thing that is most within our control. We can manage things, and we can control that. We can't always control when businesses come in. We can't control the weather and whether or not it's going to rain and flood our streets, but we can control things fiscally so that when those things do happen, we are prepared for them. And we're prepared to handle all contingencies in the future as best we can. So I think that that is the most important thing that I feel is facing the city. Thanks.
Well, personally, and you may take offense at this, but I think the thing the city needs the most is honesty. We as citizens need to know what's going on down there. And I think it's partially the city council's job to make sure the city knows what's happening. Thank you.
This is for all the candidates? I didn't listen to the question because I thought it was for just the city councilman. Sorry.
You're fine. The question is somewhere in my notes.
How would I just talk for a minute?
It's what's the most important?
Oh, from your platform.
Yep, you're the most, okay, on your
platform. My platform is basically, and there's been some disparaging comments about it. That's cool. I mean, you can't please everybody. But I believe that there is a place for everybody's voice and that we can come together. You don't have to agree with everybody. So it's not like we're out killing each other in the streets either, right? So it's one of those things where we come together, we find something, and not everybody's going to be happy, and that's also okay, and we have to try and soothe that. But we don't just disparage and discount and throw them under the bus because, you know what, we're in charge right now. So that's what I want to be, is I want to be somebody that's able to listen to all of the diverse points of view and bring all those concerns to the table adequately so you all feel that it's not just that neighborhood and that neighborhood. Thank you.
Is of all the items listed in your platform, what is the single issue that you believe is most important to this community?
Thank you. The single issue to me is keeping our infrastructure. That's what is part of that's what the spirit of Enoch is. Our parks, our streets, our walkways, our police department, even our garbage trucks. So I believe that keeping our infrastructure is the most important. Thank you.
Well, I agree that keeping the infrastructure working is the most important thing because it supplies the basic needs of the city. The thing that it needs at the moment, more than anything else, is to fix the flooding problem. We have flooding problems in more than one area of town. We have the potential for flooding problems in a lot of areas of town. And they all need to be looked at, not just some of them. And we need to fix them, not put a Band-Aid on them. Something that will not take care of itself and something that will not stand up without lots of work.
I agree that we do need to have a good infrastructure, but I feel that the main thing that I stand for is the individual rights of all of the citizens in Enoch. That everybody needs to be heard and not just groups of people that come and have a problem. I think that all the individuals need to be heard so that their rights are being protected as well.
David Owens. We've heard everything that really needs to be taking place: infrastructure, fiscal responsibility, the flooding problems, the law enforcement. And so the only thing else I can add is action. We need to start taking action. We've heard from the people on all of these different subjects. Things are not being put in place. Things are being pushed forward, and more communication and more debating and more talking in the council chambers, but there's no action. And so this is what I think is one of the more important steps. Is it's now, we've heard, it's now time to take action. Thank you.
And to what's been said, I think we need to be able to pay our bills, have a safe place for our people to live, enjoy life, and that's it.
I agree as well. I think the driver behind all this, I agree with the action part, which is something I'm passionate about, and I agree with our infrastructure. It's all driven though by our budget. Sometimes that's why we don't get stuff done, it's because there isn't money to do it. That's the fact of the matter, is it takes money to do some of these things. Whether it's the drainage or anything that we feel like is important to our community, it takes money typically. And so without that, that's sometimes why we're stuck. We need some of that. So anyway, those are some of my thoughts about that question. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now have closing statements that will be 1 minute long, starting with the mayoral candidates with Chestnut, Clark, and Grimshaw.
Thank you for coming out. I can say really quickly, you should have come last night. The air conditioning was working there. But it's exciting because it is a bigger crowd tonight. And so that's maybe why everyone's a little warm. I'm excited to be a candidate for the mayor. I think Enoch is a great place. I've had an opportunity to leave several times. One of my partners has been on me for the last 4 years to move to a town north of Seattle. And my wife and I don't want to go. I like my neighbors. I like my house. I like my community. I think you like yours too. And I think you also have legitimate concerns about the things that you see around the community that could be better, that could be more efficient, that people's voices could be better heard. And I believe that as the mayor, I can do those things because those are the things that I do in my job. Those are the things that I do every day. I'm good at my job. Really good at my job. I would be really good at the mayor. And I hope I can count on your vote. Thank you.
My name is Stephen Clark. I keep forgetting to say that. My main campaign things have been talked about several times already. I enjoy working with the citizens of Enoch. I'd like to work with you again as mayor. I've also enjoyed playing with the citizens of Enoch. I've mentioned before about the haunted hayride. I'll tell you what, when scary things jump out at you, nothing makes kids squeal louder, and it's sure a lot of fun. I'm really proud of being at Tree City, USA for 11 years. That was started before I was involved, and it's been a lot of work on a lot of people's part to continue being Tree City USA. And so I've enjoyed my association on Arbor Day and in the Tree Committee. And I'd like to ask you to vote for me as mayor. Thank you.
I hate to be the only one that disagrees with some things up here, but it doesn't all take money. This school did not cost the town of Enoch 1 penny, but our children go to school here. It cost the school district a lot of money, but it didn't cost the city of Enoch any money. Again, the well that we provided for the city did not cost the city any money. For all the developed part of the cemetery, that did not cost the city any money. And there are lots of things that can be done without money, but it takes for somebody to get up and do something. For people who just want to sit home, who don't want to do anything, they need to pay money, or else they need to not have wants. If you want to do things, you can do a lot of things without money. Not that this money isn't a good thing and a necessary thing in many instances, but it isn't the only thing. If you like my kind of government, I appreciate your vote. Like I say, I've lived here a long time, and I've always been proud to live here, and I like where I live, and I don't really want to change it.
Thank you. We will now have closing statements from the City Council and go in alphabetical order.
Again, my name is Cassie Easley. I would like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I appreciate you taking the time to come and hear what we have to say. I'm new to Enoch. I really like the community that is here, and I love the hometown feel of it, and I think that everyone does, and everyone would like to be happy to say that they're proud that they come from Enoch. And I just want everybody to know that if you do vote for me, I have an open door policy. Anytime you have questions or need to get in touch with me, I would make every effort to be available and be able to be well informed to be able to give you answers that you need. Thank you.
I don't know if you want to vote for me or not, but I will pledge that I will be honest with you. I will listen to what you have to say and do the best I can to integrate that into everybody else's, what they have to say. But I will never, ever tell you a half-truth or a lie. Thank you.
All right, one last time, Dave Harris. As you've listened to us up here, I think you've probably heard a lot of answers that were really similar, and a lot of visions that were really similar. And that's because I think that it's safe to say that most of us really want the same thing. That's a great place to live, a great place to raise families, and we want to maintain that. And I think if nothing else, that is a rallying point for all of us, that even those of us with differing opinions and philosophies, we can come together for that common goal. And I think that if you elect me to the City Council, I will approach that with all of us, even though those of us with differing opinions and philosophies, I will approach that with in the spirit of respect and cooperation, and hopefully find the balance that will achieve that goal that will benefit all of us. Thanks.
Again, Michael Work for Deborah. We received this afternoon, closing statement. I apologize, I'd like to read. My love for God, city, and country have given me the incentive to become a candidate for a seat on the Enoch City Council. I am blessed to have the time and dedication required to serve the citizens of Enoch. Representing the people is an extraordinary responsibility that I'm eager to accept. The idea of serving the residents as my primary duty is immensely satisfying to me. Sitting on the council requires so much more than attending a meeting on the first and third Wednesday of each month. I'm prepared to provide due diligence for each item, either on the agenda or from folks directly. The sun never sets on the need to serve others. May the voters of Enoch please speak loud and clear on August 11th by accepting me as a candidate on the November ballot. Thank you.
I love this town. I love my neighbors. I don't like my street, but I love my life. I have worked with Enoch City on committees for the last 2 years. I know the issues. I know the frustrations. And I've heard from many different sides of the people. And I'm here to tell you that I will listen. I will do my due diligence to know both sides. But then I'm going to formulate an opinion, and I'm going to make motions and move forward, and not push things further along and make problems for the residents. I think we have a great community, we have a diverse people, but we can work together as long as we have communication and as long as we have faith that our city is great and it will continue to be great. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out tonight and supporting this effort. You're obviously concerned citizens and want to be a part, and I thank you for that. Thank you for the moderator and being here tonight as well. We live in a great place. We moved here from Colorado 5 years ago, and it's one of the best moves we've made for our family. And some of the things we're talking about up here, as far as things that we'd like to see done, as is mentioned, probably aren't that much different. We live here because we like it here. And some of the different, I talked about finances and different things like that. I operate my personal household frugally. Money is important, and it's important to you. And to be fiscally responsible within our city is important to all of us. And I feel like some of my background and experience with and in my jobs is going to lend itself to this city council seat. So if you vote for me, I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
I love the people in this community. I love the community. I want to serve you. I want to support the staff that we have. We have a great staff. Mayor Rasmussen has done a tremendous job. I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you people for coming out tonight. Listen to us old full hearts. I guess that's it.
Thank you for all coming out. We are now going to have a mix and mingle, so candidates will be at the tables if you have specific questions. That will last until 9. And please join with me in doing one last round of applause for the candidates.